Alright guys, in this video I'm going to be changing the oil on this 2018 Maverick X3 Turbo R. So one of the things I'm going to use in this video is this silicone funnel. It goes into that slot right there. There's the two drain bolts to drain the oil. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the big one first, let it drain, and then I'll remove the small one. It looks like most of the oil is coming through the funnel. At least I hope so. Alright, so most of the oil made it through, except as you could see, once it slowed down, it started dripping off the back, and it made a little puddle. No big deal. It didn't go towards the back, it just went right there. Easily wipe that up. So yeah, now I'm going to loosen that 10mm bolt and let it drain from there. As you can see, it's draining nicely. That funnel seems to be working pretty good. Just a little mess on the skid plate, nothing big. Not like the last time I did it anyway. So it should be about 3.7 quarts that comes out. I'm just going to let it drain while I change the oil filter. Oh, and by the way, I took it for a quick spin around the block, let it run for about 10 minutes, and the oil came out nice and warm. So warm it up for a little bit. It doesn't have to be operating temperatures, but just let it run for a little bit. That way all the oil drains, and also I loosened the dipstick. That way when the oil drains, it doesn't create a vacuum. So it flows out a little better. The filter is right there. You got these three bolts holding down the cover. Those are 8mm or maybe T25 torque. I'll just use an 8mm socket. Get that pulled off. Okay, so it still made a mess, sort of. As you can see, there's some oil coming out from between the frame and the skid plate. And so basically what happened was, after I removed the oil filter, it started draining quite a bit, and it was draining next to the funnel, not into the funnel. So as you can see, I kind of pulled it out and basically placed it like that and then it was going into the funnel. So it seems like no matter how hard you try on these, you'll still kind of make a mess. But I did purchase the little drain thing. Alright, I did purchase this easy oil drain, but this only covers the big hole, which I think will eliminate most of the problem. Seems like when you take the 10mm bolt out, it kind of just drains and doesn't run down the engine, but we'll see. Anyway, so basically this screws in. It screws in instead of the 17mm. Fortunately, that does eliminate this magnet. That looks good. No large chips, but it will make oil changes easier. Basically, it's just a valve, and then this screws onto the valve with a hose on it, and it drains right through the skid plate. So I'm going to go ahead and get that installed. And then I purchased the oil filter. I guess I wasn't careful on Amazon, and it looks like an aftermarket one, but it should be fine. Not going to be too worried about it. It did come with a new O-ring, so I'll go ahead and replace that. Okay, actually, I got to looking on the inside of the filter, and I didn't like what I saw compared to the factory Rotax filter. Figured it would be fine, should be OE spec, right? But this is what I saw the difference was. So that is the factory spring, and that is the aftermarket spring. I also saw a piece of metal down there instead of a rubber, but it's just a piece of metal on top of a piece of rubber. So I think that part is fine, but I don't like this, and the reason for that is when it was inside there, it was compressed to almost this. And from what I understand, when there's pressure, it pushes up on this rubber piece and lets oil flow through, right? And so this spring will definitely reduce flow because it was compressed quite a bit. I'll actually get another filter. I bought a 2-pack of these, and I'll show you. Okay, there's this filter all assembled. As you can see, that spring is compressed quite a bit. So, alright, here's that one. As you can see how much springs are in there, and then this is how it was. Huge difference. You know, I'm really curious. I see on the Facebook groups where people talk about blowing their engine after an oil change. I'm really curious if this is why. Using these cheap filters. You know, I'm almost hesitant in using this filter at all. So I'm probably just going to leave this machine alone and order a suitable replacement. I'll just leave it here until I get the new filter in. I don't know if it's worth the risk. Alright guys, I decided not to use this filter because I think the diameter is a little bit different and the spring looks like it could slip out. I tried to kind of crimp those, and I'm just not going to mess with it. I'm going to just purchase a OEM or a K&N filter. I'm going to purchase both of them and kind of compare the springs and see how it looks. The Amazon K&N one is $10 and it has 4.8 out of 5 stars. So I'm pretty sure K&N would, you know, do the research and build it to spec. So I'm just gonna put this on hold. I'll probably put the drain plugs back on and torque them down and clean up that oil in there. So yeah, all right, that's where we're at.